2023 has probably been my best backpacking year ever. I've managed to spend 15 or so nights over 11 some trips and almost 400 kilometers in the Canadian Rockies and share it with you guys. It's been pretty cool. So let's talk about all of the amazing things that happened in 2023. Let's talk about all of the not so amazing things that happened in 2023. And then let's talk about what's coming up in 2024. To really understand why 2023 was so special to me, I kind of have to let you know where I ended 2022. For about 5 years leading into the end of 2022, I had spent most of that time backpacking by myself. Short trips, short distances, overnight, 2 nights max, and really screwing it up and learning until I got to a point where I could share it with a couple of friends and take a couple of friends with me backpacking. But usually it was new or inexperienced backpackers. And near the end of 2022, I signed up for a subscriber trip with Matty Outdoors, which was incredible that he would put himself out there like that and just let people, hey, you want to show up, show up. But on that trip, chatting with him and some of the other guys that were out there, I realized that it was something I could do. I could do backpacking. I could do YouTube. I had thought about it before, but I had never really tried it or figured out what it would look like for me. So I took another couple of trips after that in 2022 and recorded them. And I thought, I'll put them out there and see what happens. And nobody cared. And I was good with that because it was really just to see if I enjoyed it. And it turns out I did. So that kind of brings me into 2023. And it actually is where the name for the channel came from. Because when I put those first couple videos out, and even still today, I don't really feel like I'm a backpacker. I don't feel like I really know what's happening. I just feel like I'm sort of backpacker-ish. And that's where the name for the channel came from. Because there's just so many people with so many more things to give than I have. But I still have things to give, so I'll bring them. And we'll do this. Oh, that's a cool little trail. The most amazing experience I had in 2023. First one was a 4-day trip that I took to Pinto Lake with Matty Outdoors and Bo and Devin and Bo's daughter. And that's the first thing that I think 2023, the first amazing experience of 2023 was spending 3 or 4 days with a new group of people and connecting with them on a level and in a way that I hadn't experienced before. And I think there's some really strong friendships that have come out of that, and some follow-up trips that came out of that. And I think that leads to the second most amazing experience that I had in 2023, which was the longest and farthest hike I think I've ever been on. And that was a 6-day trip up to Coral Lake in the Klein Public Land Wilderness in Alberta. And that trip was incredible. It was some of the most amazing scenery I've seen. I had such an amazing time with the people that were there, and with the experience of being out there. And it was just about 100 kilometers over 6 days. And we ended up changing our route and bushwhacking through some stuff, and it was just a really special time that we got to share. The third thing that for me was really special about 2023 was I was able to take my daughter out for the first time backpacking with me. Something she's always wanted to do. We've camped together and things, but it's one of those things that I have always wanted to share with her. And we have a pretty cool relationship. So I think that experience was one of my favorite. Taking her to one of my favorite places up at Ray Lake, in the Elbow Sheep Wildland Park, and experiencing that remoteness and that connection with her in a way that that she'll remember for her life and I'll remember for the rest of my life. That to me was definitely a highlight for 2023 for me. The final thing about 2023 that was really special for me was doing it on YouTube. I think those last couple trips in 2022 were great, and I tried it and I really enjoyed it, but the experience of YouTube and finding different ways to share the environment I'm in and the things I'm experiencing and the joy and the struggle and the victory and the failure of backpacking was really cool for me. I really enjoyed the process of that. So a full year of sharing things on YouTube and interacting with you guys as viewers or subscribers or people who hated my stuff or whatever was really cool. And I'm looking forward to keeping that up. Is that a lynx? Maybe. There were also some things about 2023 that were not so great. First of those kind of sucky worst of 2023 experiences was when I went on that 6-day trip to Coral. The week before, I went on a hike and I blew out my shoes, my trail runners. I blew out the sole of my shoes. So I had to pick up brand new trail runners right before a 100-kilometer 6-day trip. Now, when we got to the trailhead, it started to rain. And the first 5 kilometers of that hike in was through mud, and the way the trail slanted a little bit, every step I would take, I would step and then slide, and then step and then slide, and then step and then slide. And within 10 minutes, with brand new shoes on, I had blisters. If you've ever been up to Coral Lake, the first day is about 16, 17 kilometers, and you go through about 24 creek crossings, and my feet never dried out the whole trip. I have been extremely fortunate in that I haven't had blister issues or feet problems in my backpacking so far before that. And after that, I've been very careful because that sucked. The next hike I went on, I had to stop and cut skin off my feet and all sorts. It was horrible. That experience was brutal, and it put a real dampener on what was still the best experience I had that year. So that was frustrating. The next thing on the list of horrible experiences was actually on that same trip. Now, I had packed a pair of pants and a pair of shorts because I thought, well, we got all those crossings and we've got a weird couple of days in the bush and different experiences that we were going to have. So I packed a pair of pants and a pair of shorts. And every day I picked which one to wear, I picked the wrong one. And I think it was day 3 or day 4 where I wore shorts. And we ended up on a 5-kilometer section of willows where my legs just got torn to shit. And that was an experience that I do not want to relive. And one of the things when I started to do the YouTube thing that I decided I would do was I was going to share my failures. When things went wrong, when I gave up, when I packed it in and took off for the night, I was going to share those. And that's probably the third thing that was the third worst experience. And it was shared over 3 different trips. I had 2 trips early spring, actually to the same place. And in both of those trips, I wasn't prepared for the trail conditions or for the weather. And I ended up giving up and going home for the night. And I had another trip in December where I trusted the forecast too heavily, and the weather changed, and I was out in a colder environment in the Rocky Mountains than I was used to, and then I was prepared for, and then I trusted myself to be comfortable and endure. So I ended up having a beautiful moonlit hike out, but I still had that experience of failure. And you can check out the videos on all 3 of those trips where I sucked and I turned around and went home. But I also have never once regretted, number one, making that decision and turning around, because if something had happened, I would have never forgiven myself for putting myself in that situation and not listening to my gut and turning around. And secondly, for not sharing the experience. I mean, if you're backpacking and you're backpacking 4 seasons in the Rocky Mountains, there's going to be trips that you don't go on, that you sucked at, that you turned around and you went home. So I think that's important to share, is that that experience includes failure. And the failure is not gut-wrenching and heartfelt, but it's a moment where you have to understand that this is something we like to do and we want to keep doing it for a long time, which means we have to make decisions in the short term that will allow us to do it in the long term. So that's important to me. And that leaves us with 2024 and what's coming up. I'm really looking forward to starting what I've been hoping to do for the last few years, and that is section hiking pieces of the Great Divide Trail. I don't have the ability to take a month and a half, 2 months off work. So I'm going to start this year with one section, and the next year do another section, next year after that do another section. And over the next 10 years or so, I'm going to hike the whole Great Divide Trail. It's one of the most remote and most rugged and most, it's just a dream of mine, and it's something I'm going to do. I'm also really looking forward to spending some time on some shorter trips with some friends and some family. I'm hoping to get out deeper into the winter this year and spend some time learning the ropes about winter backpacking and backcountry camping in the Rockies in the winter. I'm so looking forward to that. And the YouTube thing, if you're interested in what that looks like, I've really narrowed down what the channel's going to be about, what I'm going to do, and how I'm going to share those experiences. So if you're interested in finding that out, check this video out. It'll kind of feed you whatever information about what's going to happen with the channel and what I'm going to do. But yeah, I'm stoked about this. 2024 is going to be a good year.